The Porsche Carrera Cup North America on IMSA Radio.
Sound of flat six engines reverberating around the historic venue that is Sebring International Raceway. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the second of two 40-minute encounters for Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by VisitCaymanIsland.com. Good to have your company, John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw in the broadcast booth. Beautiful afternoon. All the early morning fog has disappeared. We're right in the middle of the Central Highlands region of Florida. 17 corners, 3 3/4 miles. Well, you can call them by numbers, or you can go through some class names from the history of our sport, like Le Mans Curve, Jean de Bihan Bend, Gurney, Fangio. Fast through turn 1 into Christensen Curve, turn 3. Turn 7 is the old hairpin. It's been shortened up for a few years now. Bit of a follow my leader maybe through 10, 11 and 12. Maybe a little bit of a dive down the inside. Then the long run down the Ullman Straight to turn 17. It's called Sunset. We won't see that this afternoon. Jeremy Shaw is alongside me here in the booth. Here's the highlights of the grid. We've got so many cars, we don't even have enough time to go through them. Before that, here is the highlights from earlier on today. Good start by Kai van Berlo in the number 3 car at the front of the field. Early on, he had a little bit of pressure, literally, from Parker Thompson in the Shell top-up car. Further back down the field, battles with Alan Metney in the silver car. He was doing a grand job holding off the 47 of Oaks, second in Pro-Am that battle, and it was back and forth right through the race. In Pro-Am, Efren Castro did a cracking job in the new livery car, the number 65, black and purple. He won in Pro-Am. Kawami wins in Am in the silver and blue car, but at the front of the field, a beautifully judged race for Kai van Berlo. He pulled away at the end. It looked comfortable at the end because it was comfortable at the end. Fabulously consistent and fast for the young Dutchman. Takes the first race of the season. Brilliantly paced, I thought, that, Jeremy, as well. We already halfway around the pace lap. We haven't got time to read the whole 43. So here's Jeremy Shaw with the highlights of the grid.
Yeah, 3 different classes then. We've got 43 992 Cup cars out there. There's the Pros, the Pro-Ams and the Ams. The top 3 in Am in reverse order. Third on the grid is Vernon McClure in car number 10. Second is John Getz in car number 57. And on the pole position, the race winner from this morning for MDK Motorsports, brand new team, MDK, that would be Mark Kawami in car number 43. He will start 25th overall on the pole in Am. Pro-Am top 3, Alan Metney. Last year's second place finish in the championship, number 99, will start second. Efren Castro in car number 65, who won this morning, but was put to the back because he had an improper brake master cylinder was found in post-race technical inspection. So he lost the points, most of the points from this morning, and he will start second in class on the pole position, having earned the victory this morning, and also by virtue of his best lap in this morning's session, will start on the pole position. That's car number 47, Justin Oakes for Nola Sports. Top 5 overall, 5th position, Lee Keane in car number 12, Trenton Estep in car number 6, Parker Thompson in car number 9, and on the front row, the 2 Kelly Moss teammates, Riley Dickinson in car number 53, and Kai van Berlo once again on the pole position.
Take a deep breath. It might be the last chance you get for the next 40 minutes. They were pretty well behaved in race 1, saving the cars for this 40-minute encounter. Possibly. Very familiar look to the front of the grid. Watch the bright red Lee Keane driven number 12 on the inside of row 3. See if he can get down the inside. It's a slow run to the green flag. Thomas Ladenbach, who was waving the green flag last time around. This time, one of our partners from the Fly Cayman Islands waving the green flag, and down to the first corner. Gene Rich of Cayman Airways doing the job for us with the green flag in race number 2. And a very good job it was indeed. Done with gusto. That's what we like to see. Pretty even break through the first corners.
Yeah, nice clean start as well. So the drivers clearly paying attention. We were a few off-roady there at the carousel, but Parker Thompson up into second place. We saw him on an early charge this morning, but he's got behind him is Riley Dickinson, who's having to defend from the number 12 car of Dimitri DeMarcos, and right behind him in car number 6, that's Trenton Estep for MDK Motorsports.
It's Lee Keane actually in the red car, and Dimitri DeMarcos is the one right behind him, behind Estep. So similar opening to the race with Dickinson dropping back to third place. It seems that the outside pole isn't the place to be. Everybody on the inside got a good drive. That Lee Keane moving up from 5th to 4th, 3rd to 2nd for Parker Thompson in the Porsche top-up car. Now, what we saw in the first race, Jeremy, was a very, we said well judged, well paced. It wasn't a rocket start by Kai van Berlo, but he has pulled away here early on. But he had plenty of pace all the way through the race, where some of the guys who were chasing him down did not.
Well, yeah, I searched Parker Thompson about that just a little while ago, as I have a replay here of various cars off the road. I think it might have been Hutton McKenna, one of the cars, a spin there for, not quite sure who that was.
That was the 22 Allegra Motorsports Carlos de Caseda in new colours for this season as well, Jeremy.
Yeah, well, yeah, returning to GT3 Cup is for Carlos. He hasn't raced in GT3 Cup for a few years, but a lot of experience both south of the border and north. But what were we talking about?
You were talking about Parker Thompson.
Yeah, exactly. And he started this morning's race on fresh tyres, so that gave him a good opportunity to make that pass, which he did on second place, but he couldn't get past Kai van Berlo. This afternoon, Kai van Berlo is on a brand new set of Michelin tyres. Parker Thompson there defending that inside line.
There's the little touch and run, bump and run from Dickinson, exactly as we saw on the leader, but it didn't quite work for Parker Thompson in the first race. Underneath the Corvette Bridge and down towards the hairpin at turn 7 in front of the 7 Hotel. It's now Kelly Moss Road and race first and second. Here comes Lee Keane trying to go the long way around. Dimitri DeMarcos down the inside. That's a super move by the relatively inexperienced, I think we can still call him a rookie because he's not done a full season in this championship. Did 2 races at the end of last year in the 991, the outgoing 991.2 car, and has decided, or has been offered the opportunity with 311 RS Motorsport to race in the full championship in the pro class in one of the new 992 cars, and he's taken that with both hands. His qualifying was excellent, maybe, and I think you can understand this, Jeremy, maybe a little bit lacking in racecraft in race 1, but he battled, he kept it clean, he stayed on the track, and he's already showing good pace here in 5th position on the circuit.
Yeah, 6th position I think on the circuit right now, but yeah, right behind Trenton Estep. But you're right, you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head because there's a lot of pressure on him, really, to some degree, coming into this season. He was completely unknown before that brilliant debut he made at the triple header finale at Michelin Raceway Royal Atlanta, and he dominated then the 991 Cup class. And you said, and his father showed me the video clip yesterday, just think what he could do in a 992. Well, we're going to find out. We are finding out. And this morning he was fast, as you say, lacking a little bit of racecraft, but gained a lot of experience on that first race in this 992 car, and here he is right up amongst the leaders.
What did we find out at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta in those 3 races at the back end of last year? He's a quick learner, he's a quick study, and I apologise to his dad then if I was the catalyst for that.
Dad's extremely proud of that, I can tell you. He told me yesterday he's shown it thousands of times, so all he's done is loves it.
Well, it was well deserved then, and he's doing himself no harm here, building a very strong reputation very early in his motor racing career. That's the car in 6th place, and the driver, Dimitri DeMarcos, that we're talking about there. 6 minutes in, and at the front of the feed, Kai van Berlo on new Michelin rubber, saved a set of tyres for this race, has decided to check out early. DeMarcos in that black number 11 car, looking very, very tidy. You cannot knock his lines, you cannot knock his commitment and car control, and he's having to get used to the new car, of course. He'll have done a bit of testing. New team to acquaint himself with as well, and I don't think he's raced here at Sebring before either.
DeMarcos?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember whether I asked him that the other day when I chatted to him. He might have done a club race here. Certainly done some testing here, but certainly doesn't have a huge amount of experience in anything but club racing, which is very different to what we're finding now in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. In the other classes, Efrain Castro has got up into the lead once again in Pro-Am. He's running 13th position overall for Kelly Moss, also in car number 65. Second position, separated by the Pro car of Sean Varwig, is Jeff Mosing, and Alan Metney in third place. So Justin Oakes got shuffled back to fourth from the pole position in Pro-Am. In Am, it's still Mark Kawami who leads. Vernon McClure up into second place in car number 10. It's a good effort for him. And third position is John Getz, who had a good run this morning until having some mechanical problems, it looked like, in the closing stages of that race.
Well, I'm impressed already, and the pace is being set at the front of the field by the two Kelly Moss cars, both the 3 and the 53, with the children's handprint on the car this year, running in team colours, if you will. Start is under review, and the early incident between the number 22 that we saw getting spun around, which was Carlos de Quesada, and was it the ACI
16?
Yeah, 16. That was Pedro Torres then. In that is under review at Race Control at the moment. So we'll let you know if anything comes of that. There, Pedro is still out on the track and battling away, just gone through the hairpin, sitting in behind the number 10 of Vernon McClure at the moment. Not in the same class, Vernon. He's an Am, whereas Pedro is in the Pro-Am category. That's for 26th and 27th overall. But a virtual sword of Damocles, perhaps, just hanging over that position at the moment for Torres. And Matt Holcomb sitting in behind him. He's leading. Peter Atwater running, didn't have the best run early on in the weekend, but he's now running in 8th in Pro-Am, 21st overall. So that's good to see him recovering from that spin early in the first race. Couldn't get the car pointing quite in the right direction.
No, but he was quick for it. He was running very, very well for a while.
He was, yeah.
Up in the top 3 in the class. Overall now it's still Kai van Berlo extending that lead. New fastest lap, well, in each of the laps so far, he goes quicker again. 203.473. Actually, in second place, Riley Dickinson a hair quicker. 203.394 there for the second place car. The lap record still stands from last year, 202.999 by our champion Seb Priya. The fastest lap this morning, a 203.520. So even in the heat of this afternoon, on those fresh Michelin tyres, those two Kelly Moss cars running really, really good pace, and they're pulling away quite quickly already from Parker Thompson.
Now, I'll say this again, but it bears remembering that these cars start fully fueled. That is the heaviest you will get the car as you come to the green flag. You've got to look after these Michelin tyres. They can easily do the 40 minutes, but not if you abuse them. And if the heat of the day, with fairly warm temperatures here, if you overheat them, getting them back is a very difficult thing indeed. And I'm just noticing that Lee Keane, the back of Lee Keane's number 12, 311 RS, the bright red car. Oh, big shamozzle down at turn at number 7, and
Richard Edge is one of them.
Yeah, the 18's in there.
Yeah, that's Richard Edge.
That's Richard. And is that one of the team cars in there?
No.
It's the number 4. It is the number 4. They were battling further down the field. That's Rob Hanley in the Am category. And he gets going. There was at least one of the car. This was a big dive down the inside by Richard. He sort of got alongside, kind of, sort of. And round the outside, the 29 car just squeezed through and I saw the bright orange Bill Smith's car as well, just going through on the other side, so they had to do some fairly decent avoiding action. The 29 being Jeffrey Myshak for the Goldcrest Motorsport car, one of the AM drivers, so that was an eye-opener for both of them. Parker Thompson now under pressure from Lee Keane in that battle for third on down. Meantime, Jeff Morsing in the 56, battling side by side with Alan Metni in the 99. Alan in the silver car. That's second and third in Pro-Am, and fourth and fifth,
right there as well.
and sixth and seventh and eighth in Pro-Am. That is the battle from second on down, coming through Christensen Curve, big bend, and down towards the hairpin. Cracking stuff from the Pro-Am runners, who are all running well inside the top 20, with Efren Castro leading by about 3 seconds. Then that battle, Morsing, Metni, Justin Oakes, Moise Ureski, Marco Cironi, all right in there. Kurt Swearingen not that far behind, and in fact he's gaining on them. He'll be on the back of that, Jeremy, very shortly indeed. And then it's Peter Atwater. He's only another 8/10 further back as well. We could have second all the way down to 8th. Oh, big mistake by Morsing. Goes way too long at turn 10. He'll lose one, maybe a couple of positions.
And no action from the stewards after reviewing that incident at the start at turn 7, or the first lap at turn 7. Incident involving 18 and 4, which is at Richard Edge, and car number 4 is who's car number 4? No, Rob Hanley.
Yeah.
Under review also right now. So the stewards are busy this afternoon. They've had a pretty quiet day so far, particularly considering how many cars are out there. But tremendous racing, and that bright pink car coming through the Jean-Benz, that is Moise Uretsky, who's making very good progress in this race, stepping up from MX5 Cup into the Porsche for the first time. Absolutely loving it. And having a really strong run there and trying to hold off Justin Oakes, who's made a brilliant debut in that drone works car number 47.
Yeah, looks like he's left that out as somewhere to hide behind in a paintball arena, doesn't it? That's the best way to describe that car. A very striking livery. Thompson being pushed along by Lee Keane in the red car, and then behind them all kinds of battle going on. Metni's fought his way through that group, Jeremy, and is now taking off in pursuit of Efren Castro. Those were the guys who contested the title last year, eventually going to Efren Castro at the death, right at the end of the season, in that triple header at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. So Uretsky now in the pink Porsche, not the pink peak, but the pink Porsche. Further up the field, Lee Keane has his mirrors full of Trenton Estep through turn 10, sweeping through the left-hander at 11, building up speed now, and then braking into tower turn. You brake and turning at the same time. Down the inside by Estep. That's a very bold manoeuvre if he can pull that one off. He hasn't, but there was no contact. That was very fair driving by both. Now they touch on the way down to the Jean de Bihan bends. This is high-risk stuff here, because this is fast and you are turning at the same time. They're being side by side for 4 corners pretty much now. And now Estep goes through as Lee Keane's car is moving around massively at the back. And then Dimitri Demarcos is right in behind in the number 11, the second of the black cars.
Yeah, the number 12 and number 11, they're teammates at 311 RS Motorsports. And Trenton Estep, he's a former champion in the old GT3 Cup Series back in 2018. Got the opportunity to come back this weekend, and that's a bold pass. He's a great young driver, is Trenton Estep, and hats off to Mark Kawami for giving him this opportunity, not only to drive here, but also in the WeatherTech Series race as well this weekend. So he's going to be a busy boy in the two 311 RS cars, side by side across the start-finish line with Demarcos now edging ahead, perhaps. Yes,
he's gone through.
Lee Keane, he has.
Gone through even before they got the braking area. No further action for the Henley incident, the JDX Racing Robert Henley incident. That car, coming together between the number 18 and the number 4, that's been reviewed. I I don't know what's up with Lee Keen's car. Maybe they've gone the wrong way on the pressures, Jeremy, but that car looks very, very unhappy at the back axle. Moving around, he can't get into the corners, through the corners or out of the corners with any degree of comfort in that car. He's really having to wait to get on the power. Somebody else has lost the bib splitter from the front. We've got a penalty. Bless you, Jeremy. We have a penalty. Incident responsibility. This is the number 53, Riley Dickinson, with Parker Thompson. So there was a coming together between those two.
Yeah, there was. You talked about a little bump and run.
Yeah.
A little bit of tap at the back. So just a warning, though. So he's going to get away with it this time.
Right.
And I think there was a little bit of payback there, because I think the same thing happened this morning, but there was not a pass made this morning. This time, as a result of that little tap, there was a pass
That's
made.
a very good point, Jeremy. Very good point at turn 3.
Meanwhile, Riley Dickinson, he's closing in on Kai van Berlo. He's been quicker on each of the last 3 laps, has reset the fastest lap of the race a couple of times. 2 minutes 03.354 is the new fastest lap of the race. So there's not too much gap. There is a gap coming into turn 17. It's only about, well, I don't know, 8 or 9 car lengths between those two Racing for Children's Kelly Moss cars, number 3 and the number 53, as they come up to complete lap 8.
A little bit more blue on the front of Riley Dickinson and the back valance as well, just to make it easier.
Distinguish those two cars,
just to make it, otherwise they are identical. Now that Droneworks car leads Moise Oretsky down towards turn 17. Oretsky pulls out to driver's right, couldn't quite get through. Justin Oakes holding him off, but here comes the number 84 right in the mix there as well. This is the battle for 16th, 17th on down. Marco Cerrone in the number 84 having a look. He slips back. No, he's got up the inside. Jeff Mosing has to give way there, surely. Yes, he has. His brilliant stuff in the midfield. You make one mistake, you lose 3 positions. So Cerrone in the silver car with the green, yellow and black stripe down the middle. Still Justin Oakes leading that battle pack with a couple of minutes to go to half distance. At the front of the field, it's now just half a second between the teammates Van Berlo and Dickinson. Then 6 seconds back to Thompson. 2 seconds from that to Estep. Another second or so to Dimakos, holding down a very good 5th position. Lee Keen down in 6th now, 10 seconds off the lead and 8/10 ahead of Chosky, and then Fisher's another second or so behind in 8th. TJ wanting to go a little better than he did in the first race. Top 10 make up by McCarthy and Tolke.
Just watching Kai van Berlo's cars there as he made his way through the Jean-Dubrien bends and onto the Alec Ullman straight. That car's moving around a fair bit. I think he pushed pretty hard in those first few laps, and he talked to me about it this morning. Time management in the heat of the afternoon is certainly going to be a factor, and he's going to hope that he didn't push too hard in those early laps, or now just try and, the 2 Kelly Moss cars have got a big advantage over everybody else right now, so he can afford to back off the pace just a little bit to give those tires a little bit of a breather, but at the same time making sure he stays ahead of his teammate.
Before that battle is really set on fire, let's just remind you who's leading in the other 2 classes. Pro-Am is Efren Castro for Kelly Moss in a solid 14th. He's got 5-second lead over Alan Metney. He's trying to chase him down. He's only half a second ahead of Justin Oakes, and he's 5 seconds ahead of Justin Oakes, and then there's that line behind him. In Am, it's Mark Kwame. Kwame is the MDK Motorsports car, and that is the 25th place overall. Vernon McClure in 2nd, and John Getz in 3rd place in the Am category. The action in that Pro-Am battle from 3rd down now, as Alan Metney's rather made his bid for freedom.
I'm not sure what happened to Kurt Swearingen. Not Kurt Swearingen. Somebody lost a couple of positions.
Swearingen was.
Yeah, it was Swearingen.
Yeah. He was on the back of Peter Atwater and Jeff Mosing there. And Adam Adelson and Hutton McKennis both gone through. Off for the, I thought that was one of the leaders there for a moment, as Michael McCarthy into the green and white car. It's another Kelly Moss car.
Yeah, the 3rd of the Children's Hospital cars this season. That's got some pink highlights on the nose and on the rear valance as well. And Michael was running there in the 9th position, so he's going to give up and fall outside the top 10 at this stage. And 9 laps completed by the race leaders, and coming down the Alec straight into Sunset Bend again, super consistent for the race leader Kai van Berlo. The last 3 laps, all within 0.02 of a second of each other.
Half distance just passed for the 2 leaders as they come to the line and click off another lap. We had a 20-lap race in race 1 today, and we've just completed 10, so we're on the same sort of schedule. It's round 2 and the second race of the weekend at Sebring International Raceway for Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by Visit Cayman Islands. Beautiful weather this afternoon. Nice to go race. Still a little bit of a wind, just keeping things cool. Now, looks like the McCarthy car has had more damage, so was there a touch there? Might even be a right front puncture for that third of the Kelly Moss Racing cars. And Michael McCarthy is limping that car back to the pit lane. He'll steer drivers right through turn 17. Yeah, there's a cut tyre on that car. So now, was that cause or effect of the spin? Very easy to snag an inside shoulder coming back onto the track and do some damage. The team will stick a new Michelin tyre and wheel on that car. Now Jeff Mosing under pressure again. Marco Cironi down the inside at turn 7, gets the pass done. That little pack of battling cars just broken up a little bit, but we've still got a few pairs. So Cironi goes through in the 84. 5th and 6th for those two. They've been battling for a while and trading that place in Pro-Am. 4th, Moise Uretsky for accelerating performance in the pink number 44. 3rd in Pro-Am, Justin Oaks in the Nola Sport. That's a paint-spattered looking car. Alan Metney in the GT Silver number 99 is 2nd, and Efren Castro in the black and purple leading Pro-Am car, still holding on to 14th position overall. Here comes Mosing again.
Yeah.
Got a good run there, Jeremy, out of Le Mans Bend, just inching up ever closer. But of course, that's a long straight, and a half a mile an hour coming out of the corner. Might be 1 or 2 miles an hour by the time to get to the braking area. He's got the inside. Is he going to run right the way in? You can turn in pretty much flat there, and he's holding the inside, Mosing. That's a really lovely manoeuvre. He didn't look like he was there, but he toughed it out on the inside and got on the power nice and early and takes that position. Quality stuff from Jeff Mosing in that rhubarb and custard coloured Porsche there.
Really good effort there. He'd lost the place a couple of laps ago to the Canadian Marco Cironi, but he's able to get it back again. This is a super battle right in the thick of it there. Also behind those two are Peter Atwater and Hutton McKenna, who's running in the pro class in kind of 88. But super battling. Great to see Marco Cironi. What a character he is. Originally from Italy, but he's made his home in the Toronto area for many, many years. Got a lot of experience, as has Jeff Mosing, of course, in GT3 Cup cars over the years. He's a multi-time champion of the Masters champion in Canada, and he won the championship 5 or 6 times, I think, in Masters competition in GT3 Cup north of the border. But he always loves coming down to Sebring this time of year, and he's giving another good account of himself here today.
Kai van Berlo's put in a couple of decent laps and stretched his lead almost back to a 2nd at the front of the field from Riley Dickinson. No team orders here. We spoke about this last year with Sebastian Priaulx, who eventually won the championship. And but they are running in the same colours, but there's no team orders.
I disagree. There's big team orders. Don't take each other out. So yeah, yes. You're right. There's certainly no favouritism between the two, which is the point you were making there. But once again, Kai van Berlo, he settled the pace down there, turned in one really quick lap a couple of laps ago, and now he's sort of settling into that consistent pace again. And Riley Dickinson runs a little bit wide at the exit turn. Well, that's going to cost him a little bit more ground. Kai van Berlo has everybody covered in the certainly this morning, and it's looking like the same again this afternoon.
Dimitri De Marcos bouncing his way through turn 17 a few moments ago. I was interested to see how Jeff Mosing made the inside line work there. It didn't look anywhere near as bumpy. It might have been a tighter line, but it allowed him to get on the throttle much, much earlier. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that one across this weekend. Maybe the tighter line, which doesn't look as favoured, in your racing driver brain, you're saying open up the steering, get the power on. But McKenna now having finding a little bit of pace as we head into the last 14 minutes. Marco Cironi ahead of him in the number 84. Marco, the Canadian, another GT silver car. All of the cars are supplied in GT silver. Blue headlights, the decals there. That tells you that he is in the Pro-Am category, and Hutton McKenna with the white lights, that tells you he is in the Pro category. Great to see the McKenna Porsche colour scheme back on a Porsche in an IMSA paddock. Jeremy and I both old enough to remember when they were supporting cars in the ELMS. Leaders going through traffic now. This could be a chance for Riley Dickinson, but no, he's held up, unfortunately, by the number 19 of... That's Tom Balamis, yeah.
Yeah, it cost him a little bit of ground there, but not much, I think. And right behind them is Craig Conway carrying that Campbell tartan on the car. He's from Scotland, and his wife is a Campbell. He doesn't have there isn't a Conway family tartan, but his wife is a descendant of the Campbells, and she is entitled to use that the Campbell tartan. So that's what on that car. And of course, the team, even though Craig Conway is from Scotland, the team is run by Irish Mike's Racing. That's Mike Flynn. And of course, it's St. Paddy's Day today, which often falls on the Sebring weekend.
Yes, it does.
So they're hoping for a strong run for their two cars. Craig Conway running there in the number 97 car. He had some problems in qualifying yesterday. Also had a spin this morning. He was turned around by somebody else. And Mike Flynn's son Connor is in the number 95 car. He's running in the 23rd position at the moment.
Well, round two, race two at Sebring, round two on the season of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by Visit Cayman Islands, coming down to the last dozen minutes. Remember, the race doesn't end when the clock goes to zero. Depends where the leader is on the track. We'll let you know when the final lap is coming around. We can work backwards from there. Cironi under pressure again now. That silver car has Adam Adelson for Premier Racing right in his wheel tracks down to turn 7. Defensive by Cironi there, went to the right hand side, and behind Adam it's Peter Atwater, 7th in Pro-Am, Kurt Swearingen for ACI, 8th in Pro-Am. That's the 26 and 17 cars just beginning to get in on this scrap through the twisty parts of the circuit. Now at the front of the field, Van Berlo has just settled down to around about a 1 second lead. Then it's 7.5 seconds back to Parker Thompson. Estep in 4th. DeMarcos in 5th. Lee Keane holding on to 6th. Seems to have stabilised that pace problem. He looked to be really struggling earlier on, Jeremy, but now 15 seconds off the lead, but almost a full second ahead of the pursuers.
Yeah, that'll be a little bit of breathing space there. Here's this Pro-Am various battles coming down toward Sunset Bend. Car number 84, Marco Cironi, as you say, coming in increasing pressure now from the Premier Racing car number 24, driven by Adam Adelson, who is lives in LA these days, with the team based in Las Vegas.
McKenna down the inside of Jeff Mosing into turn 1. That is for position, overall position, and That was nice and easy.
Yeah, Jeff's all of a sudden dropped back a bit.
Yes, he has. Yeah, he has.
Lost
in
a
that
fair bit of pace.
Yellow
It
and
might be a problem
maroon car. We'll keep an eye, Ortmann. Make sure that his lap times stay up. I'm really interested to see again who's got the tyres and the grip. What we don't know, other than one or two, certainly Kai van Berlo had a new set of Michelins for the start of this race. There will be others maybe who saved a new set of tyres, Jeremy.
I think probably Riley Dickinson was on a fresh set of tyres as well. Parker Thompson, who started in the third position, was not. He was definitely running used tyres from the qualifying session because he ran just, I think he'd ran just one set of tyres in qualifying, Parker Thompson. Yes, he did.
The 3 3/4 mile track pretty much filled all the way around now with how this field has spread out. 43 cars started. It's an absolutely outstanding paddock to have a wander through. And Jeremy did it earlier in the week to speak to some of the newcomers and to some of our old friends from Porsche racing in the States. Dimitri De Marcos, 5th position, and with a decent gap back now to Lee Keane, who is beginning to have to look in his mirrors for Varun Chosky for the Wright Motorsports team. TJ Fisher's not too far behind for Top Racing. That's the number 58 car, which is another one of the mainly silver cars, silver and blue. And they're going to be battling for that position shortly, and that position is P8, position number 8, just inside the top 10.
Yeah, and I think the biggest surprise for me, John, in this race is the advantage that those two Kelly Moss drivers have out in front. I mean, they are just leaving everybody in their dust.
8 seconds.
This morning, yeah, that's a long, long way. Clearly they've got the handle on the cars for here. I mean, they were the cars to beat emphatically last season. And clearly they found something that works on these cars a little bit better than all the other teams at this stage.
They did have a test last week, an open test session. Not everybody came.
Yeah, everybody was here.
Oh, everybody was here,
yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah, they're all here, but yeah, there was the cars weren't policed necessarily. They weren't scrutinated. They weren't, didn't have to go through technical inspection. So someone perhaps running in different, whatever. But they're not going as fast now as they were during the test.
Yeah,
which I think is interesting this week. But the Kelly Moss cars, they're all fairly closely matched in the test sessions, but when we get here to the race weekends, Kelly Moss, or those two in particular, number 3 and number 53, Kai van Berlo and Riley Dickinson, very much the class of the field.
Bright pink is Moishe Uretsky, stepping up from Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 running. He's running 4th at the moment in Pro-Am. The car right ahead, the multicoloured Nola Sport Porsche, is Justin Oaks in the 47 car. And that is a position on the Pro-Am podium that Uretsky is trying to chase down at the moment in that pink number 44. He won't lose that one in the paddock. In fact, neither of those would you mistake for anything else in the paddock.
That's true. Yeah, Uretsky was 6th in Pro-Am this morning. The DroneWorks car right ahead of him, car number 47, Justin Oaks. He ended up winning the class this morning with a penalty that was assessed, he was 2nd this morning. Alan Metney took the win this morning after the penalty that was assessed on number 65 car of Efren Castro. So it was Alan Metney who won the class this morning. Justin Oaks in 2nd place, and Jeff Mosing was 3rd in Pro-Am in race 1.
Nice driving by Joe Still, being passed by a couple of quicker cars. That number 80 car in 39th out of the 43 runners, but still this battle then with Justin Oaks and Moishe Uretsky. That's the 3rd place on the podium in the class. Blue mirrors, blue wing end plates, blue windscreen bands, blue numbers. That's Pro-Am. Blue stickers on the headlights as well. I do like that touch, actually. It's a very small thing, but it does make life easier when the cars are coming towards you to just look at the headlight colour. 15th overall here. Leader in Pro-Am now up to 12th for Efren Castro. Alan Metni hasn't been able to chase him down, and he's actually got Michael McCann between himself and the class leader in 13th position, Metni in 14th, with just round about 7 seconds between these two and the silver number 99 of Alan Metni. Under 5 minutes to go. Second race of the season, second race of the weekend. Afternoon racing in the sunshine at Sebring International Raceway, and a huge slide from Justin Oakes as he comes around the last of the Jean de Bihan bends. He's using up what rubber's left on those Michelin slick racing tyres, and Aretsky will have seen that. Aretsky knows about close racing. He's come from Mazda MX-5, and he will know that all of these little clues that the car that he's chasing is giving him, he'll now be thinking, right, where can I pounce? Stays to the inside, the right-hand side of turn 17. Can he do the Mosing move and get the power down earlier? Definitely that number 47 car of Oakes is moving around when he puts his foot down. He knows he's under pressure here, Jeremy, and he's only got 4 minutes left to defend and hold on to that third place in Pro-Am.
Yeah, pretty impressive run, though, for Justin Oakes there. Very little racing experience. Last year was his first season of racing. And he had a very good season of racing as well, because he ended up winning a class in the Trans Am Championship. Wasn't the most populated of classes, but he won it nonetheless.
When he raced against those there, Jeremy, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And yeah, he's been very, very impressive at the wheel of that number 47 car here this week so far, driving for the Nola Sport team.
Through the hairpin at turn 7, and for a moment a little bit of breathing space there. At the front of the field, Van Berlo is just stamping his authority again on the field. He's got a little bit of traffic now as he goes by Robert Hanley, who was involved in that little tussle earlier on at turn 7. That's a lap being put on him by the leader. 1.7 seconds at the stripe last time around for Van Berlo over his teammate Dickinson, with 2 3/4 minutes to go. Here comes Dickinson to put the lap on Hanley as well. Stays to the left-hand side of the track. Nice driving. Oh, something came off Hanley's car there, or did he run over something? Rather big piece of bodywork and debris on the track at pit out as well. So was that something that was run over? Oh no, that's a huge piece of bodywork that came off another car, and that's Undertree, I believe. Happened a few moments ago, and then it must have been run over then by Hanley as he was staying to driver's left on the front straight. It's a debris flag being shown at the start-finish line. With 2 minutes left to go, where are the leaders? We get one more lap. Kai van Berlo just going through to turn 13 on the circuit now. He's mired in the traffic in the mid-30s and having to get the attention, make sure he gets the attention of all the drivers as he goes through Tower down towards the Jean de Bihan bends. So it will be white flag this time, Jeremy, I think.
Yep, it will, and there'll be a 20-lap race again, and as it was this morning, all green this morning, and coming around Jean de Bihan bends now to get onto the Alec Ullman straight for the 19th time.
People saying, how long is that straight? I know, well, you could read half a chapter of a book, but I'll tell you, in racing terms, it's got the full, behind that wall is the full WEC paddock and the full IMSA paddock, and I don't just mean the WeatherTech paddock, I mean all the IMSA paddock. 177 cars are in that paddock, and that is basically the full length of the Alec Ullman straightaway. 1 lap to go for Dutchman Kai van Berlo, looking for a delightful double at the start of the 2022 season. For Kelly Moss Racing and for himself, be the perfect way to start his championship challenge. He was right there last season, ultimately couldn't catch his teammate then, Sebastian Priaulx, he wants to make sure he gets the points in the bank early this year. Dickinson's done well, but he's 2 seconds back now, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's right. And Kai van Berlo, spoke to him this morning. He said the goal for the weekend for today, just to get consistent points, be consistent in the car, and get some good points to build him towards the championship. He said, one race, the first race of the season isn't desperately important. The last race isn't desperately important. How you do all season long is what's going to win you the championship. That's what we found out last season. Here at Sebring 1 year ago, Kai van Berlo and Seb Priaulx each shared a race victory, but today it's van Berlo all the way so far. Half a lap to go.
Can't afford a bad result in a championship that is this close, and a couple of bad results for Kai van Berlo was what cost him the shot at the championship to the later part of the season. But there's been no problems for him here. He's driven well. Interesting what he said about thinking of the championship as a whole. You kind of think, Jeremy, on a slightly more micro level, he's thinking of these two races as a whole. He hasn't tried to charge off. It's been consistency. He's talking about consistency over a season. Consistency over 40 minutes and 20 laps is what has got him the 2 top steps of the podium this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he's a bright young man. He's a student at Miami University, and he's a student of this sport as well. Really nice young man, and he's been another exemplary drive here this afternoon.
Through Sunset for the 20th and final time, and in the Sebring opener, it's double Dutch. Kai van Berlo comes through to take his second win. He's perfect on the season, batting 1,000 for the early season points haul. Efren Castro will also come through for his second time across the line. Hopefully this time the car passes post-race tech. But Castro in the number 65 car, new colour scheme for him this year with the purple and black, very striking colour scheme on that car. He turns in to turn 17 at Sunset, bounces his way under the bridge, and we'll see the checkered flag and take full points here. Fastest lap, by the way, overall was for Riley Dickinson.
Yeah, and that'll prevent the clean sweep of the points this weekend for Kai van Berlo. Last year he got 5 points for pole position. I think it's 2 only for this year, but I think there's also a point for fastest race lap as well, which Kai van Berlo did get this morning, but Riley Dickinson snatched at least 1 point there for that this afternoon.
The bonnet, the hood cover on the MDK Porsche just flapping a little bit over the bumps, but that will matter not at all to Mark Kouame, who comes through to take the AM category. That's 2 for him as well. That's a great point haul for the start of the season. He'll be very, very pleased with that in the cars with the yellow trim on for the AM drivers.
Yeah, and a brand new team as well, MDK Motorsports. They come away with 4th place overall with Trenton Essep and 2 Masters Cup wins for Mark Kouame.
Well, I mean, we're going to run out of superlatives if he keeps driving like this. The number 3 car making it 2 in a row. And first and second for Kelly Moss Racing. They also vacuum up the AM category as well. And the Kelly Moss cars then certainly finding something, as Jeremy was mentioning. Take nothing away from Kai van Berlo. 2 perfectly judged races this weekend. Jeremy Shaw in the booth with me. We'll cover the rest of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America presented by Cayman Islands through 2022. It's always a pleasure coming to Sebring. Tough start to the season for particularly the suspension engineers. The Michelin tyres have done their job. The great sound of flat 6 normally aspirated engines were cracking the early morning air today, and the afternoon session and race was just as good. 2 in a row for Kai van Berlo. He'll take the championship lead to round 2.
This programme is a Radio Show Limited production. For more, check imsaradio.com and subscribe to IMSA Radio wherever you get your podcasts.
They did actually manage to put in a couple of